it was called Jubbat al-Faqih. And it's what you got when you got your Ijazat al-Tadris. Why is it that they have that tassel coming off of it? Because this was what was given to the alim to remind him that Allah had him by the nasiyah. And that he should have fear of Allah when he taught people. Because Allah could seize him at any moment. And now we see these people coming with their cap and gown to be given a piece of paper, which is false testimony now. Shahadat az-zur. Because it tells them that they actually know something. And it's quite frightening when you realize that you've spent 16 years and learned nothing. That's a scary feeling. You know, if somebody tells you now you know something, you start getting a little shaky because you realize, what exactly is it do I know? Well, it's right here on the diploma. It says you're a bachelor in arts. What are the arts? Well, those are the liberal arts. Well, what are they? Grammar, logic, rhetoric. Those are the three of the humanities. And then you learn the 4 arts, mathematics. You had to learn geometry. You had to learn astronomy. You had to learn music. Those were the liberal arts. Those are called adawat. And these were the things that a student had to learn in the Islamic madrasa system in order to be able to study. Now, just to look, I think that we had 2 extraordinary periods of scholarship that are unparalleled in the Muslim world. And they are the first period, which is the period of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the greatest teacher who ever lived. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ مُعَلِّمًا. I was sent a teacher, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah will not choose for His Prophet other than the best of professions. Profess, to teach. That's what a profession is. It's to teach, profess, to profess what you believe. The first period was the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In a book by Ibn Hajar, who lived in the 15th century by Christian dating, which is called Al-Isaba fi Tamyiz al-Sahaba, accurately measuring the companions. He says that out of 12,043 persons, notables amongst the Sahaba, that he gives us a biography of in order that we can know who these people around the Prophet were, who were the human beings that our Prophet produced for the world. Out of those 1,243, 1,551 were women. 1,551. Mentioned in the book. We're not talking about the women at home that we don't know about. We're talking about the women that were known. All of the Sahabiyat were great. But because of the nature of Islamic modesty, there are many names that we will never know, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. Now, what happens then in the second period? The second group consists of a period in the 13th and 14th century. There's a book written by Ibn Hajar in which 1,300 women are mentioned in his book that consists, that he wrote. 1,300 women of the ulama of his age, alimat. Ibn Hajar has Imam al-Sakhawi, out of 11,691 scholars that he considered to be the greatest scholars of his age, not looking at their sex, not looking at their male or their female qualities. He's talking about who the greatest scholars of his time was. Out of 11,691, 1,075 are women. 1,075. I want to, tonight, to remember one woman. Her name's Hani. And she lived between 1376 and 1466. She was born in Cairo on Friday in the mid of Sha'ban. It's a blessed time, and that's the time we're in now. She was born mid-Sha'ban in 778, and she died in Cairo on the day of Saturday, the 30th Safar, 871. Imam al-Sakhawi says, Hani, also known as Maryam, the Cairoene, the Shafi'ite, the daughter of Nuruddin Abul Hassan Ali, the son of the Judge Abdurrahman ibn Abdul Malik. On her mother's side, she was the granddaughter of Judge Muhammad ibn Muhammad al-Qayati. She was born in Cairo on Friday night in the middle of the month of Sha'ban. Her maternal grandfather, Judge al-Qayati, took care of her upbringing. In 785, he took her to audit hadith in Mecca directly from 4 masters. He mentions the names. In Cairo, she studied with her grandfather himself and many other masters, 6 names given. She obtained certificates of audition from a large number of important masters. 13 names are given. She married Muhammad ibn Umar ibn Qutlubugha al-Baktamuri and had the following children by him: Shuja'uddin Muhammad al-Shafi'i, Saifuddin Muhammad al-Hanafi, Fatima Yunus al-Maliki, Mansur al-Hanbali. Her son studied and followed the schools of law by which they became known. This is Hani. Her son, Mansur al-Hanbali, was brilliant, but he died young, and it was said that his intelligence killed him. After her first husband died, she married Hassan ibn Suwayd al-Maliki and had her children Ahmed and Aziza by him. When her grandfather, Judge al-Qayati, died, her husband put his hand on her inheritance and used it freely, but then he died and she inherited all of it. With the money, she bought the great workshop famous for its enormous size and many spinning wheels. So here's a scholar who's buying a factory, a woman in Cairo who's a scholar, the mother of scholars, who's buying a factory. She's a working woman buying a factory, known as Insha al-Akram near Birkat al-Fil. Maybe some of the Egyptians here even know where that is. One of the descendants of the original owner challenged the legality of the sale in court, but the Hanbali judge, Nasrullah, ruled that the sale was legal and confirmed her ownership of the workshop. So here's a male who's saying, this is my shop, goes before a judge, and the judge rules for Hani. She taught hadith for a long time, and many eminent scholars heard it from her. Personally, everything I have learned from her teachers, I learned through her. Yet I believe that she knew much more than I was able to learn. I mean, this Imam Sakhawi, this is not a simple person. We're talking about a great scholar. So this is letting you know, he's letting you know by that statement who Hani is. Her grandfather had presumably taught her the rest of the 6 books of hadith. And Imam Nashawiri's version of Sahih al-Bukhari, she was a good woman who used to weep profusely. When the names of Allah and His Prophet were mentioned, she would weep. She was consistent in her fasting and night prayers, firm in her religion, and especially concerned with ritual purity, which is an important point here. She was especially concerned with ritual purity. She wrote well, and she was a natural poet, able to make up verse spontaneously. As a young woman, she had memorized the Quran and Abu Shuja''s Mukhtasar, the abridgment of Shafi'i jurisprudence, and the Mulha of Imam al-Hariri in Arabic grammar, as well as other works. I heard her recite beautifully Surah As-Saff. She performed the pilgrimage 13 times, often staying for months to study and teach in Mecca and Medina. As she grew older, she lost her eyesight, but she was patient. Then she lost the use of her legs and became housebound. Her Hanafi son looked after her until she died on Saturday while I was in Mecca. She was buried in the burial grounds of her grandfather near the mausoleum of our Imam al-Shafi'i in Qarafa. May Allah have mercy on her and on us. Hani. Now, just to look at what's being said here. She was one of Sakhawi's esteemed teachers of hadith. Her involvement in the marketplace as an owner of a textile workshop, and her close relationship to the son who took care of her in her long and difficult old age. The extreme mobility of the ulama comes across in her 13 pilgrimage to Mecca and Medina. In the 14th and 15th centuries, women figured prominently among the teachers of famous male scholars. Ibn Hajar himself, when he went to Damascus, he only had 4 scholars of hadith. They were all women. These aren't made up things. I mean, this is our heritage. Hani was only one of 68 women experts on whose authority Imam Sakhawi recites